Move on to the one that we've been biting at to talk about for quite a while, and that's Ted Lasso season 3. The last episode just released last week. Um, Ted Lasso is a big film for both me and James. We both enjoyed.
Film.
Yep, film, TV series for me and James. We both enjoyed the first 2 seasons at least, and we're somewhat underwhelmed about this third season, the way it's played out so far. And now we've got the conclusion to this pretty much series ending sort of episode. So, James, take it away.
I'd like to apologize to the audience for Nan. He has lied to you today and said that we're somewhat underwhelmed by this. I'm extremely underwhelmed. In fact, I'm kind of pissed off. They butchered a great TV series for season 3. I'll say that much. My history with Ted Lasso, I found it during New Zealand's 3-month lockdown because we needed a way to stay sane by that point. And just in that time of my life, it hit me really hard and in all the right ways. And, season 2 hit as well in the same ways because they were both, had that resemblance of, positivity and optimism and being kind and all that kind of stuff. That is what Ted Lasso is. I'm not saying that the season 3 is not that. It's just not naturally that. It's so forced. And I have so much to say about season 3. I'll try make this more of a back and forth without me just speaking 10 minutes straight. So please interject if you want to take over or elaborate on anything that I'm saying. But the structure of season 3 is horrendous. I had no idea what the point of some of those episodes were. I felt like the last 3 episodes were a race to the finish line.
And then everything in between is just filler.
Yeah, everything in between is filler. In terms of the Premier League aspect, what? Richmond's been predicted to be the last team. Oh, they lose 4 in a row. Oh, they're bad. Oh, Zava comes in. They win 5 in a row. Oh, Zava's out. Oh, they lose 5 in a row. Oh, Ted discovers a triangle thing. Oh, they win 17 matches in a row. Oh, they didn't win the entire thing. Sorry, spoilers, by the way. But yeah, it's just there's no structure to it. There's no build up to that finale. I remember the first one, and I keep saying this to you. It built up the finale because they had to win that. They had to win it to not be relegated and all that kind of stuff. So that part of it pisses me off, especially because that is the backbone of the whole series is
winning the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, they're a soccer team. They don't have to win the whole thing, but if you're gonna have soccer, it needs to be compelling. And it can't just be Ted randomly discovering a triangle thing because he has a placebo effect on some acid or whatever it was. As for characters, I'm gonna go through them one by one. Ted Lasso just randomly wants to be with the sun. I'm not saying that he never missed his son through the series, but it was never felt. Do you ever did you feel like that?
Bad time and ask me a question. You can have that.
Thank you.
A little. I think we could clearly see throughout all 3 seasons his struggle.
But did season 3 exaggerate it
Yeah.
instantly, randomly, out of nowhere?
I think so. I think the seeds were definitely planted in season 2 that he just he wants his son there more and stuff, and he's happier when his son is over in London with him.
Yeah.
So I'm not really mad at that aspect and him wanting to be with his son.
I'm not mad at it. It's just the fact of the way it was done because I watched that first episode and I was like, oh, he's going to go back to his son by the end because he just missed him so much, and you just knew what it was doing.
Yeah,
there was it's very predictable. Nothing with his wife came to pass, or his ex-wife, and I really felt like they were building that. She didn't feel that relationship with the therapist,
especially in that last episode when she was intense into the game, and then the cunt was just on his phone.
Yeah,
and, mocking soccer as well.
Yeah, was it you that I spoke to about Ted Lasso and about the therapist?
Don't know.
Oh no, it was Kyan the other night. Because he was saying how that therapist was just a bad person. Like he should be cancelled for life or like revoked of his whatever therapist.
Sorry,
thing.
yes,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you were talking about the female therapist, Ted's therapist.
No.
That's why I got so confused.
The
Yeah.
male marriage counselor for Ted and his ex-wife, how they were together. But I felt like there was one episode where, Ted and her could rekindle and that she missed him and his positivity or whatnot. Nothing came to pass. As for Ted and his mother, it was very underwhelming, very rushed. It kind of just came out of the blue and ended straight away. So, the last shot is of him and it's not at all really satisfying. I'll go through to another point. Nathan Shelley, Nate the Great, Nate the shit in this one, because just another poor writing example right here. Throughout the series, I was continuously wondering, am I meant to hate this guy? Am I meant to like him?
As in season 3.
Season 3, like, what are they doing? Like, he left being an absolute asshole to Ted. He joined Rupert. He joined West Ham, a rival soccer team, and they're showing us him trying to get a girlfriend, and it's just
like being dumped by like a supermodel and stuff like that.
I'm like, am I
trying to make us feel for him?
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing with this character? Like his pursuit to get a girlfriend, I've never cared about it. It's never been the seeds have never been layered in the first 2 seasons. It was just kind of random. I know I think he kissed Keely at one point. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember it.
Yeah, in season 2, I'm pretty sure he kissed Keely and then he spat in the mirror when Keely was very nice to him. So I guess it kind of does it, but, the whole satisfaction or the reconciliation between Ted Lasso and Nate was
underwhelming.
The emotions were there, and I felt the emotions when he was, because the actor who plays Nathan Shelley was very good in that moment. Like, he should be nominated for an Emmy because it really was. He did a lot for a scene that was not earned at all.
Especially when the players were like bringing up the torn out Believe and they had the hands down. He was like tearing up with his hands down.
Yeah.
As well, like you could actually see him like trying to get to the middle of the hand pile.
And further to that, the way he came back was just so like out of the blue. I was like, what is going on? Like, he's just there, and I know Beard was like, oh yeah, you got the job and stuff like that. I'd rather have seen something more. I wanted more of an intimate conversation with him and Ted, at least earlier on in the season or something.
I think
I needed so much more.
I would have liked it if the West Ham game, the first one, where I was at West Ham, wasn't in like the first 3 episodes. It was actually in the middle point.
Yeah.
And then in that middle point, we see Richmond up and beating West Ham with like, I don't know, X amount of minutes to go. And then we see Rupert come down to the field and like be a cunt to Nathan as he was to what we saw in this one.
Yeah.
Like pushing him and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, sort your shit out. And then that's that realization that Nate is like, I have to go back. Because like we already have these like 5 episodes where he's like trying to get into Rupert's good books and he just keeps, dodging and whatnot. And then that moment happens and he's like, I can't be a manager for this sort of person.
Yeah.
And the next 5 episodes is him going back to Teddy, so he has interactions with the players and he has interactions with Beard, and then he finally goes to Ted and was like, can you please take me back, and I'm sorry. So pretty much that emotional moment in the finale happens in the actual episode.
Yeah.
And then we have like 2 episodes of him with actually interacting with the team.
Would have been a lot better. This should have been resolved earlier on in the season. But with him, I never really understood why he was such an arsehole. I know it probably would have been stuff related to his dad and stuff like that. And, you go back to the episode where he made peace with his dad, and that was a horrible episode.
Unearned.
And his dad was just like, oh, I don't know how to handle being a father to a genius. And he's like, you think I'm a genius? Oh, it's just the most dumb, it's bad writing. It is bad writing. It comes out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, okay. And then, it cuts to them having a nice little meal and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, well.
It doesn't even feel like as if the writers for the season wrote the first 2. It feels like as if they've completely changed the writing team.
It's funny because there was one person that left the writing team for season 3 and isn't there for season 1 and 2. and apparently the writer that left, I don't know his name, but he is very competent, very good at, structuring a TV series, episode by episode and stuff like that. So people were like, oh, okay, this is probably a big reason as to why it feels so like cluttered and, drawn out at times. Who else do we need to cover? Rebecca. She found love.
This is actually a really dumb one. So I'm going to jump in here before you
jump in.
Because throughout obviously she had that whole, what's it? Psycho? No, not Psycho.
Rupert?
No.
Sam?
Nah, the fucking, what are they called? Gypsy people? People that see the future, foresight?
Oh, yeah.
Fortune
what happened there?
Thing. Yep. Anyway, I don't know the fucking term for it, but someone read her fucking tarot cards, and obviously, like, we were getting hints throughout the series
that it was real.
That it was real, and then, like, most of it was towards Sam Obazanya.
She's meant to be pregnant with his child, right?
Yeah, or something like that. And then there was a scene in a couple seasons ago where they like look back at each other while watching a film, and they like clearly show like they both like have feelings for each other.
Yeah.
And then she ends up going to, or what supposedly was set up at the end of it was going to the guy that she met for like a night in Germany.
At Amsterdam, but
Amsterdam, yeah. So that was like, okay, yeah. You spent like the entirety of season 2 building up this relationship with Sam, and then you have teasers of them like looking back at each other and whatnot.
I'm glad they never went that way because that relationship was very uncomfortable.
It was weird, but it's more earned than whatever the fuck we got.
It is more earned. I would have loved to see what they had done with it. But yeah, you go back to that first episode and it's like, the tarot cards or, the fortune teller or whatever, and they're like saying the future, and then further episodes they show like hints of it. I think it's like a green matchbox or a green card or something like that Sam gave her, and it all felt like it was coming true and stuff like that. Nothing happened with that in the end. And I thought they wasted a episode of her falling in love with that guy on his boat in Amsterdam. But clearly they didn't waste that time because he sees her at the airport
in the dumbest fucking way possible.
Yeah, his daughter apparently falls in front of him. It's cheap. It's cheap. It's easy writing. It's fine. I don't care too much about that part of Rebecca. It was more about Rebecca and Ted's goodbye. Go to Roy again. Wasted. Just nothing. Like I'm being harsh. I know that, but I think Roy has developed a lot over the course of the series. But where he was at the start or at the end of episode 1, he's in the exact same spot for the last episode. I guess the only thing he learns is that he doesn't need to change. Perfection is not something that you can get, and perfection is boring. Be unique, whatever the message is. No real growth there. I'd rather to see him being like vulnerable to Keela, like, hey, look, I wasn't too busy. I was just scared because we're in serious or something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to bring me to Keely now. We've had our criticisms about what they did to Keely in season 3, discussing them privately. Way to kill a character.
Stupid.
That has to be one of the worst things.
Fucking dumb. I thought I had my last fucking dumb throughout this podcast, but no, this is another fucking dumb.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Keely.
Yeah.
Yes. Just, I don't know what they were thinking with this. Her and Roy break up, fine. I get it. I could see it. Her and that relationship with Jack, your investor for your company, stupid. I liked the whole Roy and Keela relationship. That felt natural. It worked at the end of season 1. It worked throughout season 2. They were overcoming, certain barriers and obstacles throughout it. It was something that's, worth rooting for. Sure, it ends, but they should have reconciliated just based on growth from the two individuals, being like, okay, we need each other. We're there for each other. We love each other. And then the other side of Keely is her venture as an entrepreneur. She's always been, with banter, her entrepreneurial ventures and businesses and stuff like that. I would love to have seen her trying to not survive, but trying to make it as someone running her own business. She just cakes it, ruins her own business, or like, I guess Jack ruins it or whatever, and just making bad decisions. I would have loved to see some success there or some growth there at least. I don't think she grew at all. I think she regressed as a character. I think Jamie is really the only character that's really done justice. If you look from, season 1 version of a character to season 3, I think Jamie's gone through the most and
he had a full redemption
arc. Grown the most. Yeah, he is kind of the MVP of the whole thing. But to see what that character went through, how he got there, him mending things. I'm just so emotional and angry talking about this, but him mending things with his father
felt unearned,
stupid. Like what? I saw that and I was like, what? Like when? How? Why? Dumb? Stupid? Idiot? But yeah, I messaged you after I'd seen the episode and before you'd seen the episode. I'm like, that was really good, but all of it felt unearned. It would have been really good if it had earned it. But yeah, I've talked enough about this and it's getting me like annoyed now because Ted Lasso was looking to be one of my favorite shows of all time and it takes it. Not Game of Thrones fashion, but
very close.
Quite close, yeah.
Yeah, definitely disappointing. Especially just the way that season 2 ended and what it was going to set up and then just having it all unravel in the way it did. It just felt cheap. Half the stuff doesn't even feels unearned or serves no purpose, like the Keely and Jack sort of romance that didn't really serve any purpose to Keely's character or the story at all. The only consequences was that Jax pulled her business out of banter. And that's it. We don't see Keely grow or anything from that moment. She didn't even get up. She didn't even end up being with either Raw or Jamie. She just kept staying single.
And do you remember at the start of the series, she brought on that friend that was obviously bad for her business?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Served no purpose for that as well.
Stupid as, yeah.
Yeah, that was dumb. There's a lot of, I think the best one would have been that the best part of Keely's storyline for the season would be her financial advisor. Like we saw them have build up a relationship, have Keely buy her a farewell thing and then having her come back, the financial advisor come back wanting to stay with Keely.
Yeah.
Even though some of her decision making was quite poor because she saw potential in both her and the company.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best aspect of Keely I can think of for the season.
Yeah.
But everything else was bad. Bad and that horrific marriage scene. Was that supposed to be at? Was it supposed to be at Stonehenge?
It was Stonehenge. I was about to bring that up. That CGI shot
was horrendous.
Imagine just seeing that and be like, "Yeah, this is good to release."
Whoever did that, if they find a job anywhere else in anything to do with, I don't know, graphic design, visual
animation,
don't
hire that person.
Don't hire that person. Go watch the last 30 seconds of fucking Ted Lasso and you can see their work on that. That was horrendous. But
so bad.
But Baird, I feel he grew as well, because he was always there with Ted and stuff, and then he got to the plane and was like, no, I really love this girl. I'm sorry, bro, but I need to leave you to.
It was kind of cringy, but
it was, but it was still showed growth in that character, not just following his best friend.
Around. Yeah. I think he felt like he owed Ted Lasso for everything that Ted Lasso did for a man. Yeah.
So when I say a highlight, it's very loosely, but that's one of the highlights of season 3. Everything else he just pretty much covered. Nate was unearned.
For the comedy, I thought this was the worst season by far.
Oh yeah, there were some genuinely funny moments.
There was
in there, but it just didn't hit the same as season 1 and 2.
Especially season 1. Do you remember all the little Ted Lasso witty, quick comments and stuff? Just the way he would talk, it was just funny, and a lot of it felt like real forced and kind of cringy now, and just there were some points where I like cringed like hard, and I was like, wow, this is forced. It's just not good. Yeah, I thought the comedy was way off as well.
Yeah. And then
Mm.
Rebecca moving on from Rupert seems so rushed in that last 2 episodes.
Oh, where he got into a relationship with his someone else, cheating again, and
But you know how like Rebecca always had that sort of thing, like I'm scared of Rupert sort of thing, like we have to beat them because I can't, and then just suddenly she overcame that within the last 2 episodes.
yeah,
Like
she's
just
good.
sort of out of nowhere, and then the stuff where big things did happen and it happened behind the scenes where we didn't actually see it. We just saw, ex Rupert sort of partners come out
Yeah,
when like they both knocked on her door. We never got to see that conversation.
I know that would have been they could have done good stuff there.
Yeah,
that conversation.
So that aspect was a bit weird, and then obviously Rupert having a meltdown, and stuff. And then having like cringy jokes like, "Oh, your balls are showing" when he pushed the coach. It was just like you're having like a serious moment here, and you're just like forcing like the most childish thing as well. It's just like push him, but have him on the floor or something. Like they'd be like, "Oh, your balls are showing. Oh, fix your balls." Or something,
just have it like be tense. It was good, and then it just had that. And I'm like, oh, like it doesn't need that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird, but what can you do?
Yeah, if they were to continue Ted Lasso, but it's obviously Jason Sudeikis. Ted Lasso is the only one who's left, and he made it clear in what's his name, Trent?
Trent Krim.
Trent Krim, yeah, that it was never about him. Could you see them season 4? Would you? I feel like you'd watch it, but would you care for it? Do you want it, or is it? It's a special ingredient, Ted Lasso.
I think what makes Ted Lasso is Ted Lasso.
Yeah, okay. Oh, if we get rid of the title. Oh, yeah, I don't know what they could call it, Bed? Oh, Roy, because it's the coach.
It would have to be something like Richmond FC or something,
The Richmond way or some shit.
Or the Richmond way, I mean, I think Ted Lasso was a big part of Richmond. Obviously, you had Rebecca like trying to drive this coach out and then form a relationship and then having like an emotional goodbye, like buying a first class ticket to go through the airport customs just to try to bring him back and change the decision, I think that's Richmond is Ted Lasso. But if you were going to do a spin-off, then I don't know what else you could do. It would have to stick with the Richmond team. Really.
Richmond trying to get to number 1, I guess.
Yeah, or trying to win the whole thing. But even if they do end up winning the whole thing, it would just be a bit minute without Ted there.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. And the fact that they came second, if they got first, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because they came close.
I don't think I want to. If there were to be a spin-off, I don't want it to be with Richmond. It needs to be with a different team. Like
I would
you can call it like Ted Lasso. I don't know, fucking Man City or something.
Yeah.
Because you know how everyone nowadays has the Hunger Games songs of blah 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 blah.
Oh, Ted Lasso, the Richmond way of Richmond AFC or something. Yeah.
But except don't have Richmond in it. Or the main focus is in Richmond. It's a completely different team.
West Ham, yeah.
A different team, different characters. That's a core group, and then obviously the characters from the original can like pop up. Like when that club versus Richmond.
You could definitely do that. I would say the only way it can work is, you obviously got the same core of people outside of Jason Sudeikis, but they're in the Champions League. And, the Champions League is the top 4 from Premier League. And then it's like, I think it's top 4 from La Liga and League One. So it's the best teams in the world ever outside of, country teams. So that could be and have Richmond win that would be like, I think I'd say it's probably the best league for, club teams, franchise teams. So if they got into that, which they did because they're top 4, and be like, okay, we need to win this now.
Still feels a bit unearned because Ted needs to be there, really.
Yeah, you are right about that. I don't know if it could work. I feel like they won't do it because the reception for season 3 has been bad. If everyone had loved it and Apple was getting so much more viewership because of Ted Lasso, you could be seeing it pretty easily, I feel. Yeah. I reckon Jason Sudeikis could come back as well.
I think
Yeah.
I think you could probably convince him.
But hey, he got what was it, 12 million from this season?
It's enough for the divorce, eh?
Moving on.